Yeah, when I first started boxing, I had a number of people tell me, do whatever you do, mate, stay away from Barry Hall, stay away from Barry Hall. And I thought it was a challenge. They were almost challenging me. Thankfully, Greeny was able to get his signature on the paper, and here we are.
As soon as I seen him fight, I thought I could beat Paul Gallen. I understand what Paul's good at, and that's pressure, and he throws a volume of punches, but we're going to have to go with him. It's not just the talent you need a mental capacity that's going to, it's a tough sport, it's an individual sport, and it's lonely sometimes. I
suppose now at his age, he's come in and he's facing his fears, which, I take my hat up to him for, but, I think he's chosen the wrong opponent to jump in with there first. I'm going to give it to him on the night. I'm pretty confident of that.
I've been watching Paul Gallen fight. He's fought 9 times now and done quite well and improved each fight. The public always come up to me and say, you should fight Paul Gallen. Yeah, timing's everything, and I think the time's right now.
Gallen's against the ropes, he digs deep, he's fit, he's all heart, Gallen.
As we know.
And he fights back. Paulo wears some shots, the uppercut does damage. The body shots are good too. What a finish.
I think when you look at the guys I've fought, I've only ever fought professional athletes or guys with more combat sport experience than me, whether it be through MMA or boxing. But this guy, he's an athlete, 6'4", 6'5", big boy. Had an amateur career. One thing is like riding a bike. You never forget things that you taught when you're young. When he was an amateur champion, so I think it'll all come back to him pretty quickly. And I heard off a number of people, could have been Australian champion, could have done anything with boxing, and I chose AFL instead, which obviously had a great career in, so I don't think you regret it.
I fought as an amateur. Won a state title. I stopped boxing to play football with my mates. A recruiter seen me play footy and asked if I wanted to come to a representative squad, and then I got drafted. Look, there's been some comments from really high credentialed people in boxing. Johnny Lewis, one, I did a bit of training with him. Love Johnny and what he's done for Australian boxing, so I'm a boxing fan, but saying I could have been national champion or whatever it might have been, but I'm a bit of a realist, and from hitting the pads to putting a glove on someone's face is a totally different aspect.
First time at Barry Hall was in Melbourne at the press conference, and nothing personal about this fight for me whatsoever, but he's in there trying to take a part of me away in the boxing ring. It's only me and him in there, and I'm not going to allow him to do that. He's definitely there to fight, there's no doubt about that. He's got a good stare down, doesn't blink a lot. He says he's 6'4", I reckon he's more 6'5", maybe pushing 6'6". Probably a little bit taller than I thought he was going to be. They're a different build AFL players. Rugby league players are probably a bit broader in the shoulders and bigger up top.
Most people with the age and the experience probably think that he's going to have it over me, but I wouldn't take this fight if I had the utmost confidence. This is a real challenge from my point of view, but a real challenge I think I can conquer. To go up against Paul Gallen, who had 9 fights, and the age difference, it is going to be a big feat if I knock him off. But that's what I want. I honestly forget that I'm 42. I honestly think I'm in my 30s again. I'm doing everything in training. Without blowing my own horn, I don't think, because I've been in the fitness for a long time, that I'm probably a normal 42-year-old. I think with my fitness base coming into a camp, put me in pretty good stead to see the gains we've had already.
Went over to the UK and had a training camp over there, along with some other things I did, and needed some sparring over there. Lucky enough, the guys I went over with knew Huey Fury, or knew the Fury camp, so went to their gym there at Salford. Got to train against Huey, which was, it was a good experience. Against a guy like that who's had so much experience, so many fights, just knowing what he knows what to do constantly. The work rate that those guys at that level have was pretty phenomenal, to be honest. Like I think I'm pretty fit, and everyone says to me, your work rate's far more than any heavyweight we see. He was amazing. And then a really good young guy who's a sparring partner of Chisora and Dillian White, named Sonny Taylor.
Jason and Andrew Maloney, obviously both world-rated fighters. It's been a breath of fresh air for me, because rather than train by yourself or just in amongst a gym setting, you actually see what they do and the commitment and the passion they have and the longevity they've had in the sport. I've got 6 to 8 weeks to prepare. I've got a fight coming up, but you watch them and how they prepare, and they've been doing this all their lives, and they're going for a world title. Just put things in perspective for me.
At the end of the day, he's virtually in the promoter's camp. He's training with a long-time coach of the promoter. They've done everything they can to make this fight suit Barry Hall. 2-minute rounds against a big, tall opponent. It's going to be tough for me. Everyone knows I've got to work hard to get inside him and do my work once I get there. Big Bad Barry Hall is no longer Big Bad Barry Hall. He's simply Noodles. I call him Noodles. That's my new name for him. Maggi 2-minute noodles won't fight 3-minute rounds, so He's the new noodle man, 2-minute noodles. It's a huge advantage for him. I mean, I think everyone knows the way I fight. I've got a high work rate. He's basically got to work for 2 minutes at a time. The guy's 6'5", so to walk him down, it's going to take a while. And the fact he's only going to do it for 2 minutes at a time, then gets a 1 minute rest. It's a huge advantage for a bloke that big, huge.
I don't know what he's trying to do, but he certainly won't get in my head, that's for sure. I'm not going to pull punches up or be Mr. Nice Guy. It's going to be on. November 15th, it's going to be on. He's going to bring it. It's not going to affect me putting hands on him, or he's not going to pull his punches back or punch any harder because he said something. It's just not a factor for me. From my point of view, he probably has to do that because there's a lot of pressure on him. I'm 42 years of age, I'm having my pro debut. He's had 9 fights. If he loses to me, where does that leave him?
If you're going to come and do boxing properly. And that's my attitude. I've always respected the sport, I've always done it properly, and I think it's a cop-out. If he's going to come and do it, and if he's as good as people think he is, fight the proper 3-minute rounds, then there's no excuses for anyone. Technically, he's got more boxing experience than me. You don't forget things you're taught when you're a kid. You never forget how to ride a bike. You know, rugby league, I was taught to tackle and pass and run when I was a kid. I'll never forget that, I can do it tomorrow.
I know it's called Code War, but I've had a lot of rugby league people offering their support as well, because particularly Queenslanders. AFL and Queensland are definitely in my corner. I'm hoping, because I'm a Melbourne boy and country Victoria, that we can almost create a bit of a fortress down there, and it's a very one-sided crowd on my favour. My
biggest thing about the AFL NRL debate is that AFL continually harp on about how much fitter they are than NRL players. The amount of running they do on the field, the Ks they clock up in the pre-season and during the season. And if they're so fit, why isn't he fighting 3-minute rounds? That's what it comes back to for me. I think I've got to be careful for the first 3 or 4 rounds. You can't get tied in 2-minute rounds with a minute rest. He's going to be coming out fresh every single round. So I've got no doubt he's going to be powerful. I'm not trying to take anything away from his ability, his punch and power. And as I said, he's going to know how to throw good straight punches because he was taught as a kid. So I've got to be careful for the first 3 or 4 rounds. I've got to get inside him, do my work. Don't need to stand there and try and trade with him. I just need to get the points and get out. And I think later on in the fight, the constant pressure that I'll place on him, hopefully I'll catch him with something and stop him. He's a legitimate Australian boxer that I really respect what he's done. At that stage we're going to have to trade. I think I'll be fairly comfortable in there with him. I can't see him standing there and trading with me and trying to not box me and move around. I think that'd be a dumb game plan from him. And if he wants to do it, I'll welcome that. That's what the people want to see. And I'm quite happy to do it with him. And whoever knocks the other one out, knocks the other one out. Yeah, I think it's late in the fight, 5th or 6th round. I think I'm just wearing Barry down, wearing him down, and either a left hook or a right hook to the head. I'll get him and hopefully stun him and then just finish him off. That's what he's done to a few fighters now that have had boxing experience. He wears them down and puts their lights out in the later rounds. Good tactic because that's his strengths. We're going to try and use his strengths against him a little bit. We've got a plan in place to do that. So whether I implement it or not, under the big lights, pro debut, that's another story. I'm here to beat him in this fight. I don't care what he's done in the past, I don't care what he does next. I'm there to win this fight and knock him out. I'll win the fight, yeah, definitely win the fight. I said I wouldn't put myself in a position if I wasn't quite comfortable. I'm not sure how it'll end, but my hand will be raised. That'll be the finish. Noodles, I'm glad you know what you're doing. You think you're going to come knock me out, you're dreaming, mate. I've got 6 2-minute rounds for you. And by the 5th or 6th round, I'm going to catch you and put you to sleep. Good luck though, champ.
Barry Hall v Paul Gallen, pay-per-view live on Main Event.